Hi, so we're going to go ahead and decorate. I've gone ahead and done most of my work, but I have one left that I'm going to show you. I did the inside, the spine, the two covers, and I did the two outside covers. But for those of you who haven't done any kind of decorating like this, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to measure and do your spine. So I have, on the front, I have a pink, brown, blue, and this kind of carries through with that same theme. It has a little bit of blue, a little bit of brown, a little bit of pink. And so for my spine, I'm going to go ahead and use this. I'm not going to use so much of the deer, but I am going to use the edges. So the first thing I want to do, I have a present here for a friend of ours. Sorry, I'm going to move that. The first thing that I want to do is I want to go ahead and cut the white part of my paper off, because I don't want that on my book. I just want pretty paper. So I'm going to go ahead and line that up, and that's not quite. Okay. And I've been having a very bad time with my cutter. So I'm going to have to finish with scissors. Sorry. I need to change my cutting blade, and I don't know how to get it out. I've tried before, and I thought maybe it would be okay today, but it's not. So I will be right back with my other. Okay, I did figure it out. I just had to push it harder. The one thing I want to tell you, these things are very sharp. And so I don't put them in the trash just in case my husband pushes down with his hand. I don't want him to get cut. So what I do is I have some kind of throwaway bottle that I have recycled. And this was from a time, I don't know if we were on a trip or what, but I just kept this, washed it out real good, and now I keep all kind of metal things. Like when I was doing beading, I would put the used needles in here. Anything metal that would cut, I go ahead and just slip it in there, and then when this gets a little bit full, I will put it in the trash. So that's just an extra little help. Okay, so I did figure out how to do this, how to change this. I hope it's going to be okay. So I'm going to do the bottom, cut this, and since I'm so close to the edge, I don't want it to get messed up, so I take my knife just a little bit into the picture. I will pull it until I know that it's cut, and it's gonna fold up, and this is what it'll do if you try to start from this end. So I'm going to take it just a little further, and it is really being naughty today. I have a couple of these cutters, and I really like them. It's just that they do, the knife does get dull. Okay, so before we put our cutter away, I want to go ahead and show you, let me move to the side. So we want to cover this area on the back, and I will line this up, this edge up as close to this edge as I can. And you can pull it away from the top if you want to. It won't hurt anything. You're just going to mark where you're going to cut on this side. And let me get my pencil. So I'm going to make a little tick mark just barely on the inside, this side, not the outside, the inside. And so that tick mark is going to show me where I want to cut. So I'm going to bring back my cutting board, and I'm going to line this up on my cut line. I'm going to see where it falls on here, and I'm going to try and get it lined up the whole way down that line. Oh, there, it cut very nicely. That I just decided to play nice. Yay! Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that it's long enough. Yep, it is. It looks really great. Okay, so because I cut weird, I have a few little paper danglers that I'm just going to pull off. They're just very little, and so you can smudge them back if you want, but sometimes I pull them off. Okay, so let's get our ink. Now this is called smudging, and this is from Tim Holtz. It's one of his smudging tools. So if you just want to do the edge, you want to keep the smudging tool pretty perpendicular, which means straight up and down across your edge. And you can see I'm just getting a little bit of pink, and what that does, it hides the white where you've cut, because this paper is a little bit thick. It hides that white, which makes a nice decorative edge. So if you want in the corners, sometimes an antique photo will have dust that has settled and aged the photo. So when we do the edges, we basically do up and down, but as you come to a corner, you might want to lay your smudge tool over just a little bit and lightly hit the corner. And as you can see, I've darkened more in the corner than I have on my edge. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up this edge. And I don't know if you can see these little, oh, they're just little stragglers. And that's kind of nasty. And then I'm going to lay it over just a little bit. And you can keep laying it over until you get the desired effect that you want. And don't press terribly hard. Now, I have a lot on this corner that I've just done, so I'm not going to do much on this corner. I'm just going to do a little touch. And you can do this down your edges if you like, but mostly what this smudging does, it just antiques it. But I don't know if you can see the difference. This is where I've smudged it, and this is where it's just pure cut. And so the ink hides that white, and it just makes your project look so much nicer, so much more finished. So this is something we always try to do. Okay, so now that that's smudged, we're going to go ahead and glue that on to our book edge. Now the first thing I want to do is I want to know which side is my top. So this is my top, and this is the top of this paper. So when I glue it in, I want the tops to match, and I'm going to put it on like that. Now I'm using my art glitter glue, which is one of my favorites. If you like score tape better, go ahead and use that. I really prefer the art glitter. Oh, and see, I left my pin off for quite a while yesterday while I was working. Okay, so we want to make sure and get the edges pretty well. And then I will fill in, not so much on the inside. I fill it quite a bit. I don't know if you can see where my glue is going. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn my book up, and I will get it in between my fold lines. There we go. Now, if you have your bone folder, go ahead and burnish it down. If not, use your hand. You can use the side of a pencil if you don't have a burnishing tool. It's just what this does is it makes the glue adhere better, but it also sometimes the glue gets in blobs, and so it pushes those blobs so that it fills in your paper a lot better, and then your glue will stick very nicely. So there, that's the outside of my album cover. So I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to get one of my boxes just to kind of show you what we're going to do. Now, we have the inside and we have the top lid. We've already done this. Hopefully you've done this. And what I want to do is I want to put a paper on the inside of this, and I'm going to match it to the paper that I have down here. So the easiest way to do that is on the bottom or the top is to go ahead and measure just like we did for our spine, and put your little tick mark there. And then cut it. And you'll notice before I glue anything, I always check. And I think that comes from working construction with my husband when we were building our house. Okay, so I'm going to make it, there we go. And this is just being so very naughty. There we go. Okay, so now I have smudged most of these edges. I just have this one to smudge, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Push that down. So before I glue it down, I'm going to put this in here and make sure that it fits. And it's not perfect because you can see, I don't know if you can see the edges. They're not completely up to the edge inside. You're still going to have a white mark. So when I glue this in, I want to get it kind of centered. So we're going to go ahead and let me get my needle in my shirt so I don't lose it. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to glue all the edges and then just put a little bit of glue on the inside there like that. And then I'm going to turn this box and put this, move it around. Now I will push it down. And you can use your fingers. Again, you can use your bone folder if you have one. If not, just make sure and press really well with your fingers. Okay, so now we have 24 of these boxes that we've made, and we want to do that inside of each of these boxes. We want to go ahead and fill the inside of each of these boxes. I would suggest that you don't have to do the inside, because once it's pushed down, it's glued down to the board, you can still go ahead and burnish. I would suggest doing the top, however, because once you get this glued down, it's very hard to push. This will push down. So I'm going to go ahead, and I am using a different kind of picture for the top of these, and I'm using my scissors right now because I know I feel really sad that my paper cutter is not working properly. Okay, so, and it's the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and put this close to the corner, this corner, as I can. And then I will take my pencil and mark just a slight on the inside of the line. So what I'm saying is I mark just a little bit on the inside and a little bit on the inside of these edges. And then I will cut them. So I think this might be okay for cutting this. Let's go ahead and try it. I'm hoping I don't have to buy a whole new cutter. I would feel really bad if I have to do that. Okay, and you'll see I'm trying to line this up. I line my tick mark up with where it's going to cut, but then I line it up also with the groove mark going down here. So there's my tick mark. That's nice. Okay, so the other thing that you can do, you know these are about the same size, so you can just start marking. That's what you do with my pencil. Let me get a different one. So on the back side, I'm going to go ahead and mark this one, and then I'll cut this, so I'll have 2 of them. These are just little fast ways to make life just a little bit easier for yourself. And then I'm going to use my original one and do the same thing. I'm going to lay this down and mark. So now I have 3 out of just 1 slice of paper. Okay, I may save this because in other videos you'll see how we use some of our scrap pieces that we have made. Now, again, the first thing I'm going to want to do before I start gluing is I'm going to smudge all of these on the edges just to make that white kind of disappear, first of all. And then again, if you want to make these look more antique in the edges, just turn this slightly as you get to the corners, and you can see it starts getting a little darker. Otherwise, it just does the edge. Some people go across like this instead of up and down. What I've noticed is that cuts my sponge. This is a sponge. It's more of a sponge. It cuts it, and so it wears out faster. So I don't do that movement very much. You'll see me once in a while, but I don't do that very often. This is a little bit easier on my sponge with my ink on it. Okay, so we have 3 of the tops done. So what I will do, I'm going to move this so I don't get ink on that pretty paper. Move that over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up and just lay it so that the top is flat against my table so that I have a nice work spot. And I'm going to go ahead and let me see which, okay, it goes this way. And this way is narrower than this way. So I want to remember that when I glue this down, that it gets put down that way. So I'm going to hold it like this and remember which edge is my top. Because with glue, once you've started gluing, I can fix a lot of things, but I cannot fix paper once it's glued down. That's kind of the end of it. And so then we're going to go ahead and center that, push it. And again, if you just have your fingers, just make sure you push really hard. And then I'm going to use my bone folder. I'm a librarian, so I have bone folders. Okay, so there you go. We have that one. And I think I'm going to go ahead and cut this one so that I have 2 of them to show you how we're going to do that. And I'm just going to use scissors. Okay, so I'm going to put this inside. Oh, I still have to smudge this side. I didn't get this side smudged. And we'll place that in there and try to get it just a little bit centered. It doesn't have to be perfect in there. And then I'm going to use my bone folder and smush it down. Okay. Let me move my camera. So we have one of these done. I'm going to do another one. And I'm going to see. Okay, goes that way. I'm going to put my glue on it. This is such nice glue. I have really enjoyed working with the art glitter glue. It's a little bit more pricey than other glues, but it really holds well. I have not had any of my projects come apart with that. Okay, so we have 2 of these done. I'm going to do a third one. So I have 2 of these. I'm going to do 1 of these. It's just a little bit different. Okay, so again, see which way this goes. Perfect. Get the glue on it. Okay, so we have 3 of these done. So I'm going to close my tops just so I have a better feel. And I'm going to use more of these just for placement. They're not finished on the inside, but they're going to do just well for placement. Okay, so we will start on this side. Let me put my pin back in my glue so it doesn't dry out. Here we go. Okay, so we have these 3 that are done. I'm going to start at the top with those 3. And I'm going to try and alternate my edges. See, I have 1 of these, I have this one in the middle, and then I have this. And so when I come down here, since this is a brown one, I will put the little green one, and then a brown one, and then a green one. Okay, so what you need to do is you really need to get this as close to your paper edge as you can. And I will glue down 2 of my corners first. So let's go ahead and do that. And some people have used the score tape. If you like, use the score tape and the glue. It will hold just a little bit better. So I'm going to put glue, and not too much. You don't want it to come squishing over the sides like I have a habit of doing sometimes. Just like this. I'm going to have to clean that up. So I also want to make sure that my little opening hatch is facing down. Yeah, this is my top. So I want my little hatch to be facing down, and I'm going to try my best to get that right at the edge. And I think I have it. So I'm going to open this up. And again, you can use your fingers if that's all you have. Just make sure and press really well. I'm going to use my bone folder and push this down, burnish it down really well. And there we have our first box placed. Okay, so I want to take the second box that I want to place, and I am going to place this one in the opposite top corner. So again, I'm going to put glue on the bottom. I'm not quite sure why my light is just weird. I hope it's okay on this video. I hope you can see what we're doing. And I'm going to put just a nice little smattering. Then I'm going to fill in the inside. So I don't know if you can see it, but I have a big glump of glue right here. And that's what the bone folder will do. It makes it very nice. I touched that. Let me put a little bit more glue on it. It makes it very nice to smush that glue and make it cover things just a little better. Okay. So again, I got it lined up on this edge and on the top edge. And now I'm going to go ahead and burnish this down really well. I think I saw a video of this in Tanu Creations, Tanu, T-A-N-U Creations. So if you want to go and check out her YouTube video, that would be really cool. Okay, so the other thing that you want to do is you want to go ahead and try and center this one between these 2. And if it helps you, You can use a ruler or a piece of paper that you've cut to hold against here, and then you're going to have to kind of eyeball how close you get them. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this one down, and then I will show you how to do the other sides. I won't be gluing the rest of them. I will just show you how we will do it, because I still have to finish the tops of all of my 24 boxes minus the 3 that I've already done. So again, I want the opening to be towards me, and I'm going to try and get that as close to the edge as I can. And there we go. That looks good. I will open it. And see, I don't have the inside done, but again, like I said, once you go ahead and put this in, you can still use your fingers to push down really hard. You can't do that on your top once you've gotten it. The only thing you could do, and it would be tricky because as you get further down, you won't be able to do it. You would be able to put something under here and burnish a little bit. That's why I like to do the tops first. That way I know that I'm not messing anything else up. Okay, so I have 3 boxes glued in. Let me show you how I go ahead and put the rest of them in. And you can choose a side, it doesn't matter, right or left, but I'm going to go ahead and choose my right side to put my next row in. Now, I have a brown edge. I'm going to use a green edge for this one. And I want to make sure, I'm not going to glue it in yet. I want to make sure and keep my pattern going. So then I'm going to put a brown one, and then the green one will be at the bottom. So it's the green one I want to work with. Once I have my tops all covered, then I'm going to go ahead and put this one down, and I'm going to line up the edges on here and glue it down. So let's pretend that's all glued in, and then we're going to go ahead and I will lay these in. And I want to make sure and get them a little bit in order. So this one's glued down, pretend, and then we will glue one at a time of these. So after you've done that, then it's a little bit easier to get the rest of these glued, because you'll just kind of keep them in line. And I would go ahead and start doing this. Like that. Okay, you'll do the same thing on the other side, and when you are finished, you will have your book, which will close like this, because you're going to have one of these over here, and it will just barely touch like that. Okay, if you want to go ahead and work on the tops and the insides for now, and I will meet you back for one final video to kind of see how we've done everything. I want to thank you for joining me. I hope you come back. I hope you've enjoyed this session, and I'll see you again later. Bye-bye.